Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Charmwonders. If it's your first time, feel free to subscribe if you like, and I will see you in my next video. The video is all about me failing my degree. So it's a hard topic to talk about, and I filmed this over and over and over again because I kept on getting really kind of emotional and my point wasn't coming across very well. But this is to do with me failing and how I overcame it and didn't see it as a failure but more of a booster for me to do really well and get my head down to move up the corporate ladder. So let's take it back to what I studied because I think that's important. So I studied psychology, and at the time I wasn't really 100% into the course. Like, my heart wasn't there. I didn't have a connection. The only thing that was interesting about the course was, okay, I love human behaviour and understanding that, so I thought this was the perfect course to be on. However, when I started to do the course, I realised that it was far from what I expected. Far. As in, it was more, it was a different scope of learning. They were talking about cognitive psychology, which is more biological as well, and it just didn't capture me at all. So I remember losing interest, and at the time, which was my biggest mistake, and I wouldn't advise anyone to do this, was I was working crazy hours. I was working like 25 hours a week, doing overtime. On weekends, I'd work like 12-hour shifts just to make money. And at the time, my priority was more about money than it was about studying and improving my grade. It wasn't that. And I remember when I used to submit essays, they were half-hearted essays. I didn't really put time in doing research. I was just submitting just so that I could say, yes, it's done, and it's ticked off my checklist. So yeah, that to me, I was just losing interest over time, and that part of not putting effort and prioritizing what was important to me was where I went wrong. So that happened. I remember my grades were just scraping through. They were just average. You know, they were just really substandard, and I used to be embarrassed to talk to my friends at uni about my grades because obviously they were able to balance working and studying, so obviously they were doing really well. So when it came down to my final year of university, I was still doing rubbish. I mean, the work got more intense with the course, the modules that I chose. And I remember just not having the mental energy to think about my essays. To even read a book, I'd get distracted. I mean, it was so bad. It was so bad. So I shouldn't have been surprised when I got that grade. I really shouldn't have. When I opened my results on the final grade when you leave university, it was literally the lowest one. And even though it was still honours, and some people would say that isn't bad, it was still not great. And I remember when I got my results, I was so down about the situation. I was literally crying all the time. Even my mom at one point was looking at me as if to say, she looked so worried because I was in a low state. Yeah, so I was crying all the time, and I remember I started looking for jobs straight away. So when I started looking, obviously the criteria was they wanted like a high degree for any job that I was going into. So there were like tons of knockbacks, tons. before I eventually landed a job working for a top corporate firm who could look beyond my grade, but they saw the passion that I had and the drive to succeed. So that to me was just like a massive booster, to think a company could look beyond me failing my degree and still hire me. So that was one thing that really gave me a boost to say, yes, it's not the end of the world that I failed. It's more to say it's my motivation now, getting that bad grade, to say, right, I'm gonna push to get what I really want, because nothing is a barrier unless you make it a barrier. I had friends who got like the same grade as me, and they didn't really push themselves. They just said, right, that's the grade that I've got, I can't really go any further without even trying, because they expect the rejection. But I say, forget about the grade being your barrier, just push through anyway, because that's what I did. Even the jobs that had a cut-off limit with grades, I still applied for them, and some of them still gave me an interview to see what I was all about, and that's what sold it for me. So yeah, never see it as a barrier to not go for what you really want to if you fail something. But moving on to when I got my job, my dream job, I was so excited. I was like, yes, you know, even though my grade wasn't all that, I was still happy that I secured this job working for a big firm. So when I got into that firm, obviously everyone was very, very smart. They had like top grades and went to top universities. And I remember when I started, I felt out of place, like a fish out of water. I felt so weird. But what I had to do in that situation was really push myself to say, right, I'm going to stay committed and work harder, stay longer to get my work done, just to show my commitment. And I think that's what got me far to exceed in that role. And yeah, I was able to secure a job that all my friends with higher grades than me were shocked to see that I got. So that is my story. That is my story of getting a bad grade, thinking that I failed, it's the end of the world, I'm not going to get any further in my life, and securing that job. It was amazing. So yeah, I hope that someone was able to get something from this message. And you know, if you're going through a tough time, just keep on pushing through. I'm going to wrap this up because I need to go now. But I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Until next time, take care. Bye everyone.